You can control any situation if you can control yourself first. Have you ever been in a chaotic situation where you're like, what the heck is going on? People are moving frantically, no one knows what to do, people are panicking, and lo and behold, there's that one person who's still, who's calm, who's figuring it out, guiding people, guiding themselves to a better place, a better location. I had an experience, it was over 10 years ago. I was at the beach in Long Beach, California, on a date actually, and I had stepped away for a phone call. And I hear in the distance, oh my God, someone help me, please help me, he's dying, he's dying. And I turn around and I see a crowd of about 15 to 20 people standing over and around this guy who's unconscious on the floor. And I walk up, and this woman is applying CPR, and she's frantic, she's crying. She's like, does anybody know CPR? Does anybody know CPR? Can someone help me? She didn't know what she was doing. And so I had just gotten recertified during CPR training the day before. My background, firefighter in the Air Force, I had to do all types of EMT training, CPR training. All of my training came to the surface in that moment. I was calm, collected. The first thing I did was directed someone to call 911. I had someone else prop up the guy's head, and I started doing CPR. The first compression, I can hear his two floating ribs crack, cracked. That's how you know you're doing it right, for the most part, when they crack. And I gave him mouth to mouth. I did this for felt like eternity, but I guess it was about for about 3 minutes, 4 minutes. And slowly but surely, this guy was coming back to life, and he started breathing again. But this guy was gone. My calmness and my training saved this guy. Everybody around this guy had panicked. They didn't know what to do. They were in freeze mode. They were all his coworkers just watching him on the ground. It was crazy. So that's a story about being calm in chaos, and how being calm and relying on your training or what you know in the moment, it can literally save your life or save someone else's life. And this is why I'm so huge on being able to regulate your emotions no matter what situation you're in, whether it be looking for keys while you're running late, or helping someone find a missing pet and they're frantic, or saving a person's life. If you can remain calm, you're most likely going to find the answer a hell of a lot quicker than if you're frantic. And I'll give the finding keys when you're running late and as an example. Growing up in my household, when that happened and my parents were going crazy, I remember my parents yelling and getting mad at me because I wasn't as frantic as they were. Why aren't you all stressed out like I am? They wouldn't say stressed out, but why aren't you looking like we're looking? And I was looking like they were looking. I just wasn't all frantic and emotionally dysregulated. And I remember my mom specifically would always get mad at me. And it was because I was emotionally regulated, or maybe I didn't care. I don't know. But I remember reading something years later in some spiritual book talking about how when people lose their keys and they're hysterical, don't match their hysteria. Like, don't match their level of emotions, because then you're going to be looking through the same lens they're looking through. And what tends to happen is the person looking for the keys ends up reaching down at their belt loop or in their pocket and like, oh my God, it was here the whole time. My keys were in my pocket the whole time. And that's what happens when you're emotionally dysregulated, aka not in control of your emotions. Therefore, you're not in control of your thoughts. Therefore, you forget that you had them on you this whole entire time because you're frantic. That reading stuck with me because it validated all the moments that I got yelled at for not matching their energy. I hold this subject dear to my heart because there have been so many moments in my life where it was just utter chaos, and I had been surrounded by a lot of different people from different groups and different situations where they lost their mind. They lost their mind. And it's almost as if when people lose their minds, they expect you to be in the same frequency as them. And I don't believe in that. I believe that if you really want to control your circumstances, if you really want to be in control to a certain degree over your environment, over your reality, you have to have an inner state of control of yourself. When you look around the world and you see people reacting to everything they see in the media, or they react to what people say, the first thing I think is, you're a slave. you have no control over yourself. You literally are enslaved by other people's input. I'm not about that. My first number one value at the top is freedom. Emotional freedom, mental freedom, physical life freedom, getting to choose what I want to do, when I want to do it, with who I want to do it. I believe in that wholeheartedly. And I believe that the premise, the foundation of freedom is being in control of yourself. I would say the most ineffective way to hand off your control and hand off your power is to start blaming other people for how you feel or what you're thinking or the situation that you chose to get yourself into. When you blame other people for your reality, what you're saying is you have more power over my world than I have power over my world, which means you have more power over my inner state than I have power over my inner state. Yes, have I given my way or given my power away to other people when it comes to feelings and emotions and thoughts and perceptions? I have. And it does suck. It definitely sucks. And the best way to get back on track is to become self-aware. First of all, call yourself out. Damn, I lost myself in this. Bring myself back to center. Get back control over who I am, what I want, what I'm committed to, what my intention is, because that's what matters most of all. And then gain control over my emotions and my feelings. But I have handed over control many times. I would say in the last year, I've done it less than 5 times. I'm really quick at being able to pull myself back, to reel myself back in, and to regain control. So I'm a human being just like you. We have these experiences, this humanness experience, where we do give away our power. But the quickest way to get back into power is to assume full responsibility over our state, over our mental and emotional state, because that's what dictates our outer world, our inner world, right? And so the next subject here is emotional neutrality, being neutral in as many circumstances as you possibly can. Being neutral means being able to separate yourself from the experience. So it's like taking the observer role. If you're not in the observer role, you're most likely in the upfront one-on-one reactor mode, reactor role, and you're reacting emotionally. You want to get to a place of neutrality where there's a little bit of separation between you and what's happening. Because when you create that separation, you're able to create distinctions. You're able to understand the situation and understand yourself a hell of a lot better. Because when I'm able to understand myself better, then I'm able to hear, feel, sense the feelings and emotions coming up. I still feel them, I'm just not acting on them. And I'm not projecting them onto my reality, because then that messes everybody else up. That misguides people and misdirects myself and misdirects other people. And I'm not trying to have that. I'm trying to be effective. So neutrality, I would say, is one of my strong suits. Being able to stay neutral, even-keeled, level-headed in all situations. And yes, I'm not perfect. Sometimes I lose my cool. Sometimes I get pissed off easily. Sometimes I get triggered. And the moment I catch it, the moment I reel myself back in. And the last subject here, inner order precedes harmony. If you want harmony in your outer world, inner order is necessary AF. Your vibration, your frequency sets the tone for everything in your life. Every single thing. If you want to have a harmonious life, if you want to have a successful life, a happy life, you have to generate that within yourself, no matter what. And so that goes back to reclaiming your power over yourself. That goes back to gaining control over your emotions and your mental states. That means giving yourself direction every single day, choosing your frequency every single day. That does not mean going with the flow and swaying. I mean, going with the flow, yes, but not swaying or being swayed by everybody else's input. That could be difficult to do, especially in this day and age where you have access to everybody's opinions and everybody has an opinion, and you're going to see things that you don't agree with. You're going to see things that anger you and upset you. Maybe it's family, maybe it's friends, maybe it's strangers on social media. It doesn't matter. But that's the whole point. It doesn't matter. None of their opinions matter. What matters is your opinion of yourself. What matters is your choice of frequency. And what matters is the direction you want to take your life. And ultimately, what matters is that you're regulated. Because just like money, just like love, just like success, just like opportunity, all flow. Everything that's in your outer world matches and flows to you in congruence, in relation to your inner regulation. Everything. If you want to create more money, you have to be regulated. You can't allow yourself to be emotional when money comes in and money goes out. It's just a tool. A lot of people give their power away to money in the sense where when it comes in, they're happy, or when they know it's coming in, they're like, oh my God, Friday vibes, it's gonna be great. And then when it goes out, you're like, oh my God, I have to let this go. Inner emotional regulation around that is, I trust the flow, I trust the timing. I am the source of abundance. I am the source of plenty and enough. I generate that. I regulate myself. I'm always steady, no matter if it's coming in or it's coming out. It is what it is. Same thing with love, same thing with relationships, same thing with communication. Understanding where people are coming from and perhaps the mental and emotional states they're in. Taking into consideration what their states are allows you to be empathetic with them and to not be swayed, to meet them where they're at, but also to govern and direct the conversation because you're in control. And that's the key point. Whoever's in control is responsible for how the flow goes. And the flow can go to, I'm not going to take this disrespect. We'll come back to this conversation when you're regulated. Or it could be, hey, let's arrive at peace. I value peace, you value peace. Let's tone our voices down. Let's align with peace. And if it still doesn't align with that, you can, again, disconnect to reconnect. But this applies to every area of life. Regulation, inner calm, inner peace, that's what creates your outer world. Thank you for watching. As you know, conscious creators wear the future, there is no ceiling.